Hi, I'm Rachel Lundbaum from the University of Minnesota Crookston, and I'm going to give you an overview about writing a business plan that will help you as you navigate through the IDEA competition and the various rounds of judging. So first, do I really need a business plan? Well, yes, for this competition you do, obviously, and really in general, all businesses should have a business plan. It's something that is really going to help to guide your business. It's going to tell the story of where you currently are, where you want to be, and how you're going to do that. In addition, if you ever seek any type of financing from a lender, you are going to need a business plan. So it really is an important document to have, and it should be a living document. It should be evolving and changing as things in your business change. The business plan is going to help you to map out your future. The research that you do as part of your business plan will provide you with some really valuable insights, and we'll talk about that later on. It's also going to provide you with a system or a specific way of how you're going to achieve your goals, and it's going to explain them in detail so that others in the organization can help to implement that. So obviously, the first part of your business plan for the IDEA competition is a title page, which should include these aspects. I'm going to let you, including your company name, address, phone, website, your type of organization or legal organization, whether you're an LLC or a C Corp or an S Corp or a sole proprietor, whatever it might be, and then the names of the owners. All right, so the first thing after your title page is the executive summary. And even though it's the first thing in your document, it actually should be the last thing that you write. It is often considered the most important. So this is what people are going to read when they want to have a quick snapshot of what your business is all about. So it's just kind of a one-page synopsis of what is in your business plan. And it should include your mission and vision, a little bit about your business, a description of your product and service, talk about how you differentiate from the competition, so how you differ, what makes you stand out, identifies your customer target market, identifies your ownership structure, talks about the future of the business, and then gives a snapshot of your financials. So next you want to describe your product or your service. So what is it you are selling? What is your product? Maybe it's a service. What is it? What do you do? Tell the judges. Tell them what is the benefit to your customer. How will the product or service be produced or delivered to the end consumer? Make sure that you are very clear on this. Give a good description. Don't assume that the judges will understand. You know your business very well, but you can't assume that they understand it completely. So make it simple and make it something they can understand, so they really understand or they really get what your business is. Right. Next, you want to identify your short and your long-term goals. So your short-term goals are less than 1 year. And they should align with your long-term goals, which are more than 1 year. Usually they're like 3-5 years, somewhere in there, but it depends on the organization. So your short-term goals are going to help you to achieve your long-term goals. So, and then making sure that you use SMART objectives, this acronym. Basically, your objectives are your goals. I'm using those terms interchangeably here. Make sure that your goals are specific, that you can measure them, so that's when you're evaluating your business, you can go back to your goals and say, okay, did I actually achieve a return on investment of X%? Are they achievable? Are they realistic? Are they relevant to your business? And do you have did you set them within a specific time period? So they need to be time bound. The next part of your business plan is the SWOT analysis. So SWOT analysis is a pretty common business tool, which stands for strengths and weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So strengths and weaknesses are really taking a look at the internal aspects of your company. So what are you good at? Some examples might be, do you have a strong management team? Do you have a really high quality product? There are things that you control. Weaknesses might be you have minimal startup funds, you don't have a marketing team, or a plan. Again, you have some control over that. So those are weaknesses. All right, so they're all things you control. They're all internal to the company. opportunities and threats force you to look outside of your company. So what are the opportunities in the marketplace, or what are the opportunities that exist for your product and service? Now, these are things like high demand, or no one's offering this product, or there's a change in consumer buying habits, which makes your product really desirable. It's a lot of people get really screwed up. I shouldn't say screwed up. A lot of people get confused between strengths and opportunities, and they might say something like, "We have the opportunity to do more marketing." No, that's actually something internal that you control. Opportunities are things that are happening externally. You can't necessarily control them, but you can leverage them. So if there's high demand for your types of products or service, you can leverage that and promote your products and services and turn that opportunity into a positive for you. And then threats are, again, external. So maybe it's a new competitor entering the market. Maybe there's regulations that are going to negatively impact your business. Maybe it could be that the economy is slowing down. Whatever those threats are, again, they're external. They're things that you can't necessarily control. And what we want to try to do with threats is we want to neutralize them so they don't hurt us at all or too badly. So next you're going to do an industry analysis, and here you're going to have to do some research. And there's another video with market research that you'll receive that will help you with this as well. But what you're going to look at with the industry analysis is, what are the current trends? Is the industry growing? Is it stable? Is it declining? So what's going on in your industry? And I know the Idea Competition will give you an industry report, so that will help you a lot. How's the economy going to affect your business? Just overall, what is going on within your industry that you need to know about? The next part is talking about your customers. So explain who your target customer is. Who is most likely to buy your product or service? So what do they look like in terms of their demographics, so their age, their income, their education level? What do they look like in terms of psychographics, or their lifestyle, or values, or interests, or attitudes? Where do they live? And the thing is, your customer, you might be able to pinpoint your customer on 1, 2, 3, or all of these things. Your customer might be any age, but they might have a very specific lifestyle, such as they love hunting or fishing. Maybe their age is 25 to 65, but the true thing that identifies your customer is that they're hunting and fishing, and that's just an example. So really describe who your customer is in terms of these 3 things. Next, you want to identify your customer or your competitors, and again, you might need to do a little bit of research for this. So list and describe your major competitors. Identify who your direct competitors are, so those who are really competing against you. You also have indirect competitors. They're going to get some of your customers, but they're not your major competitor, but at least acknowledge them. And then mention the strengths and weaknesses for sure of your direct competitors, and your indirect if you're able to, or it doesn't get too cumbersome. Next, you want to look at sales projections and have some supporting data for this. So how many sales do you think you're going to make? What is the national trends? Looking at your competitive advantage will help you to identify what your sales projections are going to be. Sales projections are hard, especially if you're a startup business who is still in really the concept stage. So you just have to do your best here. Some of you may be a business that has been in business for a little while, so you have some previous sales figures and you can make some really realistic projections based on your previous sales. But these are some things that you can look at to identify potential sales, which you will then use in your financials later on. Next is your startup marketing plan. So how are you going to reach and communicate with your target customer? So What methods are you going to utilize? Are you going to use a website? Are you have social media? Are you going to use radio ads? Are you use a blog, direct mail, television, newspaper? Are you going to do promotions like a loyalty program? Are you going to use billboards? How are you going to communicate to your target customer that you have this amazing product or service and that they should buy it? It's not going to be as in depth as like a full marketing plan, but you really need to address how you're going to do that and what it's going to cost. So you have to do a little bit of research there as well. Next, the idea competition wants to see who your support professionals are, so who's on your team. So that can be your SBD consultant, it could be your CPA, your attorney, your bank, your insurance agent. Some of you are going to have a long list of support professionals, especially if you've been in business a while. Others will have a smaller list. The judges just want to see that you're acknowledging that you need multiple people on your side, and they want you to list those people and to identify them. If you don't have a team in place yet, you can at least develop a list of potential people who might be on your team. So lastly is your financials. Oh, excuse me. So your financials is really your opportunity to persuade the investor or the reader of your business plan, or here the judges, that your business is going to be profitable. So it obviously needs to reflect what is included in the plan. So your selling price must be the same in your financials as it is in your plan. Your sales projections should be reflected in the financials accurately. All your costs should be reflected accurately. Be conservative, be realistic. This is really going to help you to determine, are you going to make money, and what do you need to do to make money. And then lastly, any part of the financials that might not be obvious to the reader should be explained in your financial projection summary and assumptions. So your summary narrative should just highlight what is in your spreadsheets and give key points and provide any explanation that's needed. And then identify your assumptions. So it might be how many units you'll sell at what price, employee wages, what it's going to cost you to manufacture. If you don't know that off the top of your head, or you haven't figured that out yet, or it's variable and might change a little bit. Those are things that you need to just acknowledge, like, I made an assumption on this and this is why. So that's